But then a lot of these artists were the records that people would have in their houses at the time. So there is that weird sort of collective familiarity with them, I think.
That's it. We did a gig with Roy Woods 2 years ago, and I was always a big fan of the Move, you know, and I said to him, look, I can remember listening to your songs when I was heading off to school when they were new, and I was 5 and 6 years old, and I think he got a bit depressed, you know, because he doesn't look that old because he dyes the beard, I think. But
well, the beard too, that's impressive.
He's a fantastic guy. But that's it, to meet someone like that who you remember as a 5 or 6 year old kid, and then you realise that when he made those records, he was only 17 and 18, and testament to real musical talent, I think, you know.
Of course, you guys were in bands when were you at school when you started sort of playing music or playing together?
We started the first band probably about 15.
Wow.
It's then at 16, and they progressively got a little bit better. Each band that you spoke, but they were never as good as we wanted to get. So that is why when we broke the last one up, we started at the beginning of 1983 as the Proclaimers, just the two of us, and the acoustic guitar. So instantly you had to write better songs because there was no riff playing behind you, there was no bass, no drums, so we did write better songs from the beginning.
Of course, there's nothing to hide behind then, is there?
No, that's right. That was the idea, to be honest.
And you sent a demo to the house, Martin, someone was telling me recently, is this right?
We had demos that would been, we used to play up in Inverness a lot, we knew some people there, and somebody from there who sent them a demo, or handed them a demo when they played Aberdeen. And then they said on the old Janice Long Radio 1 show, does anybody know where the Proclaimers are? We hadn't even heard the show.
Oh my
goodness.
And
somebody else put us in contact with them. We went down to Hull and literally went on a pub crawl with them on a Friday night. They offered us the gig. We came home to Edinburgh hungover the next day. So it's just breaks like that, and meeting our manager, Ken McDonald, and things like that. Every so often you got a break, and it made things a lot easier.
Yeah, these lovely landmarks.
Yes.
And the Tube, you were on the Tube early on, huh?
We were, yeah. We got we made a very cheap video of us singing at Leith Docks, singing Letter from America.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
unbelievably, they put us on, and we did Letter from America. We did Throw the Heart Away,
okay.
And that was like January, February 1987, and that was an amazing thing. That the Tube was a big show,
massive, yeah.
And to have an unsigned act on is incredible, and it was quite brave for the people who produced the show to put us on, I think.
And it is. I mean, even just thinking back about the musical landscape and the charts at that point, getting into sort of the later parts of the 70s. Stock Aitken and Waterman were everywhere, you know, Rick Astley, Sanita, and your song is like a complete, you know, it just comes out of nowhere.
Well, it was different, that was for sure, and you know, I had nothing against Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Me neither, I have to say.
I never really want to make records like that, and so it was always, we just viewed it as being a different thing, like some people like football, some people like athletics, you know. I mean, we didn't really view what we did as being a competition because it didn't seem to be the same thing. And yet when you go out there and when you sign a deal and when you know a record's going into the chart, then you care about it. Trust me, you care about how high it gets. Yeah. Anybody who says they don't is kidding themselves on.
Listen, I was telling you at the start of the show, even just as a fan, I'm rooting for you on Sunday, let alone as the artist.
There you go.
We'd love to hear another song. If you're ready, what are you going to play for us next?
This one is the one we talked about earlier on. This is called What School.
Wonderful. Listen for the canine references when you're ready, please.
I like dogs and I like people, especially the Scottish kind. But Scottish dogs have an inbuilt advantage over Scottish humankind. A wagging tail and a little wet nose can find new love or avoid potential foes. But in this small ancient nation, we gather information in slow ways and worse ways. Some do appraise by using this phrase. What school did you go to? Sounds like, where did you spend your teenage days? But what school did you go to? Does it mean what it says? Plant and Page wrote A Stairway to Heaven. I don't like rock, but that's genius. And in that song, Percy sings sometimes words have two meanings. My God, he didn't know how right he was. Now I know he's He's a big Wolves fan, but does he favour rebel songs or marching flute bands? On the west side of this country, to stop it getting funky, if they extend a hand, they'll see like Kissinger or Talleyrand. What school did you go to? Does it mean where did you spend your teenage days? No. What school did you go to? Does it mean what it says? Let you for the dog sniffing, licking. Let you for the dog sniffing, licking, sniffing, licking, sniffing, licking, sniffing, licking, sniffing, licking. What school did you go to? Sounds just like where did you spend your teenage days? But what school did you go to? Does it mean what it says? What school did you go to? Definitely doesn't mean where did you spend your teenage days? No. What school did you go to? Doesn't mean what it says.
What school? They are performed live in the studio by today's guest, the Proclaimers. Thank you very much again for that.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for allowing me the bad chord changes. Yeah.
Do you know what? It sounded beautiful. It's always nice to hear something different live. Listen, we've got some really nice messages coming in. We've got a couple of people on Twitter here. John W. Weir says, what a sound, unique and unmistakable. Hashtag the Proclaimers. Like, how very 21st century. You've got hashtags.
We embrace the modern world. Thank you very much for the compliments.
And Raymond Mead Music says, greatest Scottish band ever. Fearless songwriting. Love them. Hashtag genius.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
And very quickly, another few. Barney and Nielsen says, I'm not even going to try and do this in an accent. I'm from Glasgow, but I'm starting to like the Edinburgh twang. Don't tell MDA. Barney and Nielsen, do you see the impact you're having across Scotland?
Cultural changes.
Earl Rogaman on Facebook says yes in capital letters. And Jerry Simmons says, I saw them at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia, USA back in 2004. Great show. Still my favourite Scottish band.
Thank you very much.
I bet you're well loved in the States, actually, especially with Homesick, I would imagine.
We do get a certain amount of people with football shirts coming up reminding us about square sausage and all that.
Just to remind you when you can't get it either, far from home.
That's right.
I think one of the times, I've seen you loads over the years, but one of the times that really stands out, and I'm sure for a lot of people, was at Tea in the Park when you played one afternoon. Was it about 2006? Yeah. And it was incredible because I think you were in the afternoon, there were loads of other bands on, and as you played your set, everyone, I think, in the entire audience seemed to just migrate to the stage and sang along, and you brought the sun out. It was glorious.
Well, thank you very much. We have no control over the weather.
Tea in the Park is fantastic.
I don't believe that. So I mean, obviously you've got What School, you've got the new album coming out. Let's Hear It for the Dogs. You've got a tour coming up. You're playing live as well to hone the songs even further.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're starting in Kelso on the 21st of May, then Lanark, then Perth, and then it's every weekend right through the summer. Doing Tea in the Park, we're doing Motherwell, Glenrothes, Aberdeen, a couple of dates in Glasgow, a couple of dates in Edinburgh. There'll probably be more added later on. So basically we're playing from the end of May pretty much right through to Christmas, I think.
I'm wondering how that's going to contrast with a tour I read about that you did in Australia of Vineyards.
Vineyards was fantastic. I mean, they don't pay you in wine. We did get paid for doing it, but it did feel like you shouldn't really get paid because it was like a holiday, really. I hope we can do one of those again. Is this
a common thing in Australia? Is it?
It's very common. Yeah. They have these kind of 1 day festival things, or they have them in vineyards, and they're usually kind of family things. I didn't see. We played about 10 shows with only for the B-52s in that tour, and I didn't see any real drunkenness apart from our dressing room.
The only drunkenness was from my nephew who was in the audience, Barry Gow, but he's a long time resident of Armadale, but he's been over there a long time now.
Not to name and shame live on air or anything like that. I've also got another note here which says, we'll never forget a pal bringing the Proclaimers' first demo tape to a party. We were all blown away. Sarah in Curry. My goodness me, that must be a hard thing to come by now. Do you have your original demos?
I think maybe Kenny, our manager's got a couple of copies of them, but I think I've moved that many times over the years. I've lost almost everything.
I've lost everything, yeah.
What was on them? Can you remember? Any
I
songs
can't
that
remember.
we know?
Let for America was on
Throw
there.
the Other Way, I
Throw
think.
the Other Way.
And maybe Misty Blue.
Misty Blue, I think so.
That was probably it.
And of course, another great fan of the band is Mr. David Tennant.
Yes, a lovely guy. Really, I mean, a genuinely lovely guy and a fantastic actor. So it's nice when people who you respect come up and go that they like what you do. So he's a really nice man.
And he took part in the famous collaboration with Peter Kay and Matt Lucas for the comic
He
relief
seemed
video.
to relish that. Yeah,
He
liked
Was
did,
it good
yeah.
fun?
It was good. It was strange though, because it was a 2-day shoot in Charlie Island. They did the first day, the performing, and it was this place outside just North London, and we were in the hotel the night before, and there's all these folks swanning about, and they kind of look familiar, and you think that should know that person, but they were the extras that we played to the next day. So we
Really?
played a bunch of extras, and then me and Charlie got the last plane up the road that evening, and then the next day they brought in the real celebs, and the real celebs were just watching the screen, you know. So then they were filming it like the Crankies and like you had
Kenny Lynch.
Shabari Wari and all that,
Greeks,
you know. So it was a strange thing when we saw it back, because we hadn't met any of these folk on the day. So it was very strange seeing it, the completed thing.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That's it.
The wonder of music. Well, listen, I think we've got to wind up there, but thank you so much. It was a wonderful session and lovely to chat to you this afternoon, Charlie
you.
and Craig.
Thank you, Nicola.